Good evening everyone and welcome to TTL F2. We are here for Season 7, Round 6 of the Championship as we take in the legendary Hungaroring from, well, Magna Nadezhd from the Hungarian Grand Prix and from Hungary, the country itself. I'm James. I'm going to be taking you the stream as always. Isn't it great to be back live from last week's disaster that we had? Joining me in the commentary box as always, it is of course Aidan Carter. Aidan, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, yeah. Just glad to be back live for once.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think last week was stressful to say the least. But yeah, thank God everything is all but up and running again, so we're back to normal.
We are back to normal, and you guys will be treated to a live stream, of course, for round 6 of the Championship, as I say, of Season 7 of Hungary. And coming into tonight from round 5, the feature race was won by Spike, Ollie Flavel in second, Vic Mill in third. Sprint race won by Toxic, interestingly, Venom in second and Blizzard in third. And just having a look at those two performances from last week, sprint and feature, Spike and Toxic not necessarily have won this season coming into tonight. In fact, Toxic had taken the sprint and the feature race in Bahrain. Spike had only taken the Spanish Grand Prix sprint race. Very good to see them both back in a winning form.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we got Spike got driver of the day last time, obviously in Silverstone as well. Spike, yeah, he was pretty confident in the feature race. His sprint race didn't go probably his way as much as he wanted to. He still came home with a P5, so he did relatively well in the sprint race as well. So he's jumped up to third in the standings, and he did really well last week. And Toxic, it's a shame for Toxic because Toxic had the pace and probably should have won the feature race because he started on pole position, but it just didn't go his way, unfortunately. A few mistakes and a few errors, and that cost him. I think he ended up in 9th place in that race in the end from pole position, but he came back pretty well in the sprint race to win that. So hopefully he's back on track, and we'll see more of the Toxic we saw at Bahrain today.
Fresh from winning the League of Europe Formula 2 Championship as well last night in Silverstone as well. So Toxic really got the winning form underneath him, and hopefully he'll be hoping, as I say, for a good result here tonight. Blizzard does lead the way on 123 points, from Vic Mill in second on 96 points. Spike is in third on 91 points, jumping up the standings nicely there. Toxic in fourth on 83 points, with Siege in fifth on 76, Honey Badger in sixth on 71, and Venom in 7th on 68. Still really all to play for between the top 7. Ollie Flavel in 8th on 39. VRT Lyronics on 36 points in 9th. And Brandon Glover in 10th on 25 points. Troll is also tied on 25 points for 10th. With Z3xa in 12th on 24. Sean in 13th on 21. Casper in 14th on 19. Speedy Suarez in 15th on 18. Maze in 16th on 13 points. With Conti in 17th on 11 points. Lighty in 18th on 3 points. He's not attending tonight. 007 Professional in 19th on 1, and YWR Storm still yet to pick up his points here in TTL F2. Glad to say he did pick up his points in TTL F1 League 2 on Friday night, his first point, so hopefully he can replicate that here tonight in TTL F2. Constructor standings quite tight still between the top 4, top 5, top 6 constructors, I would say. Trident on 147 points leading the way. Univertosi in second on 127. BWT Arden in third on 118 points, with Campos in fourth on 104. Dams is in 5th on 89 points, with Arc Grand Prix in 6th on 82. MP Motorsport is in 7th on 67, with Carl in 8th on 44. Sauber Junior in 9th on 39, and Prima in 10th on 28 points. Still all to play for, I think, coming into tonight. And of course, we're at a track where the F2 cars, I think, are going to tend to struggle around here. It's Magna Nadezhd, 14 turns away at the drivers. This is going to be a track where I think quite a few drivers will be caught out.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the known trait of a Formula 2 car is there's far more understeer within the Formula 2 car than there is in the Formula 1 car. I think this track's difficult with a Formula 1 car at the best of times, but Formula 2, people are going to struggle a lot with understeer, plus the fact that this track is notoriously difficult for overtaking. So overtaking is really going to be done first lap or through strategy. So poles are going to be more important than ever, I think. I think out of the whole calendar we've got, this is probably the most important pole position that we're going to have. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a real challenge.
All to play for, 2 DRS zones as well, 14 corners as I say in length of this track, and it's a very tight twisting circuit, and honestly some of these guys I think will struggle. Just to bring your attention as well, we've got a new name within the lobby. VRT Lyronics no longer at Universality. His replacement is Lewis 11004. No, that is not his phone number, trust me, or not his date of birth or anything like that. That is just a number on the side of his name, but he is part of CPI's team. And Lewis, I've known him for quite a while. He's been in plenty of leagues that I've commentated in, and Lewis, really great addition to TTL F2.
Absolutely, yeah. I've raced against Lewis a few times myself. Actually, I've never commentated over him, but I have raced against him before. And it's fair to say that he absolutely trounced me in those races that I was up against him. So he's definitely a fast driver, and he could be a very good addition to this team and to Universal as well. So let's see what we can do. We
go on board with our favourite Scotsman. It's Venom. In the MP Motorsport, he runs down towards turn 1. Honey Badger has already retired from the session, and MP Motorsport Venom going well wide towards turn 1. That is as already his lap completely and utterly buggered. Blizzard Toxic, he freaks it up towards the end, but Venom coming through turn 2. Looks like he might be steering this. Not sure if he's got any practicing coming into tonight, but he's certainly looking at it with an opposite lock through turn 2 and now through turn 3 and up the hill towards turn 4. Very tight twisting sector. You might see a few invalidations here. Everyone through safely, I think. Venom is now through turn 5 and towards the halfway point really in the lap. It's quite a short lap around here, 120 odds we're going to be looking at for the TTL F2 cars here tonight. Venom through the chicane, just cutting it slightly. He's got up to 10th. That was an invalidation, which is good to see. Ollie Flavel dropping down through the field might have had a bit of a mistake, and in fact he's retired from the session. It's Blizzard Toxic, Brandon Glover in the top 3 currently. Middle sector though from Venom. Let's see what he's like. He is gaining through the positions. 103.4 in the middle sector for Venom as he now comes down towards turn 12, and then to the very tricky 90-degree hairpin at turn 13. A real car killer, this one, if you have that bit of opposite lock. Lewis has also retired from the session. Venom now coming around the final couple of corners, and now in towards turn 14 being the final corner. Looks like Toxic might take pole with Spike and Blizzard just in behind. Cross the line for Venom, however. 28.2. Venom recovered after that early couple of mistakes through turn 1 and 2. 28.9 from Venom, but it's Toxic who takes it from Spike and Blizzard in third. The main championship protagonist well up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I was with Blizzard actually at that. He was the fastest man in the first sector, and then Blizzard pretty much lost all of his time in the very first corner of sector 2. Obviously that tight left kink, it can catch people out if you run too wide. Blizzard was just far too cautious through there, and he was overtaken by about 4 or 5 people in one corner. So that's where Blizzard's time went. Otherwise, I think he probably would have been on pole. But again, 2 weeks in a row, Toxic's back on pole again.
Toxic back on pole, 800ths of a second actually in the top 10, separated by 9 1/4 tenths. That's how tight qualifying can be around here. 28.2 from Toxic takes pole from Spike in second. Blizzard in third, 2,000 separating Z3 from Brandon Glover for 4th and 5th. Very tight again with Siege 200ths in behind in 6th. Venom in 7th from Speedy Suarez, good qualifying from him in 8th. Sean in 9th, Vic Mill in 10th. Maze, Conti, Casper, YWR Storm had a mistake on his lap, 146.9. Lewis, Ollie Flavel and Honey Badger setting no times, presumably either because they made mistakes or had an invalidation.
Yeah, I'm actually just looking through the stream. I'm actually looking through the stream at the moment, seeing a comment in from Ollie Flavel. He didn't have a setup on, so I'm imagining he's running with a base setup, and he obviously wasn't used to that, so that's probably where that mistake came in. Also saw throughout the lap as well that YWR Storm spun at the first corner, but decided to keep going on his lap and not retire, and that's actually gained him a few positions. So good enough, so fair on him for keeping going with that, even though he spun. He's up to places from where he would have been.
Yeah, I think honestly YWR Storm could have a chance of scrapping out for the final point scoring positions here tonight. He's got good form coming into tonight off TTL F1 League 2, where he picked up his first points of the season, and I think he finished like 8th or 9th in Italy on Friday, so did a very good job. We're just moments away then from the start of the formation lap here in the feature race. How many laps are we expecting for the Hungarian Grand Prix? Let's find out. And there is 19 laps awaiting the drivers out on track. So this could be quite an interesting race. In terms of strategy, obviously the guys will only have 2 compound of tyres available. And just looking at them at softs and mediums, and the majority of the field going on mediums, I'm not really surprised at that, to be honest.
I'm not surprised myself either, but we saw this last week at Silverstone as well. We saw a couple of people start, well, pretty much everyone starting on the hards at Silverstone, and then a couple of people going for the softs. And the people that did start on the softs, off the top of my head, I think it may have been Siege who did that last week, and starting on the softer tyres just did not work for them. So I think people have recognised that and have gone for the harder compound at the start of this race. But look out for Suarez and Storm though at the start of this race, and their way through the field as quickly as they possibly can. Before, I imagine they'll probably pit maybe around lap 6 or 7 from those softs, and then it will definitely be easy reduced to the end of the race. But we'll have to see if that strategy pays off for them.
Yeah, you've got to think as well, those that are going on the alternate strategies, Speedy and Storm respectively, are going to be wearing off their tyres at about a 5% rate per lap around here. Given that we haven't got a safety car, it's going to be flat out racing. So if these guys don't hit trouble and don't have any spins out on track, 5% tyre wear is pretty much the norm around here at Hungary, no matter what car you drive around here. It is very demanding on those tyres, and as you say, lap 6, lap 7 I think is perfectly what I was going to say as well on the tyre front with softs. Medium strategies, I'm thinking lap 11, lap 12?
Yeah, I was probably going to say maybe 11 and 12, maybe 13 if people think that the mediums aren't going off as quickly and they think that they can stretch them a bit further. I think another thing in terms of tyres to watch out for is overheating. This track is really, really hard on overheating for tyres, and by the looks of it, we're getting a full dry sunny race, so tyre temperatures are going to be hard to manage around here, so people on the softs at the start of the race are definitely going to struggle with that, and especially because this track is very heavy on traction zones, rear tyre wear is really, really hard to manage around this track, so that's another thing to look out for.
It's going to be quite an interesting race, I feel. I'm going to come to you, top 3. Who's your top 3?
I think I'm going to go for Spike for race win. I think he's on, so I think Spike's going to take the race win today. Second, I can't count against Blizzard going into P2. Third, I'm going to put Toxic in third.
Spike, Blizzard, Toxic, top 3. Interesting. I'm going to go Toxic for the win, Blizzard second, and do you know what? I'm going to put Honey Badger in from right at the back of the field for third. Just think he might have a good race. Yeah, bit of a weird prediction, that one. Yeah, I've got predictions wrong. Are the 5 red lights about to go out? Yes, they are. So the 5 red lights then are about to go out here for round 6 of the championship in TTL F2. It's lights out, and away we go. And it's Toxic with a very good start. Looks like he's bogged down. Blizzard might have the better start of the 3. He's going to be side by side with Spike running down towards turn 1. Z3 from Van and Glover side by side as well in behind. Hopefully everyone going to be clean through turn 1. There's a bit of end plate flying in the background. Looks like Ollie on the back of Conti. There's been quite a bit of contact there coming through turn 1. Speedy Suarez has already made his way up to 5th on the set of softs. So good start from him in the BWT Arden as he's overtaken Venom, and Venom's got a good start as well. Honey Badger's made a couple of positions. Ollie Flavel with his no setup on is pretty much out of contention. He's spun through turn 2. Lewis and Casper, really, really heavy start in behind. Honey Badger going up the inside of Conti. This is through turn... Oh, and he's gone around the outside of Siege, in fact, through turn 4. What a move that is by Honey Badger. Round the outside he goes in the Arc Grand Prix car, and he's just made Siege look like absolute mockery, I think, if I've got to be honest. He's up to 13th. What a move that was by Honey Badger. YWR Storm has spun through turn 5 as well, so he has caught, obviously, the inside curve. That's why he's probably ended up on the inside wall there. Toxic leads the way by 1.1 second from Spike in second. Z3 up to third. Good start from him with Blizzard and fourth. Speedy Suarez, though, probably the eye catcher, I think, out of these guys, in 5th on a set of soft compound of tyres, and he's getting, what, 3-4 positions off the start, which is fantastic to see. The Spaniard's looking very racy out on track. Venom in 6th, Vic Mill in 7th, but we approach the end of lap 1. It hasn't gone according to plan for Ollie Flavel and Storm. Again, a bit of end plate damage came off on the run down towards turn 1. I think it was from Ollie, if I'm not mistaken. Toxic leads, though, 136.3 at the end of lap 1 from Spike in 2nd. He threw to 3rd, Blizzard 4th, Speedy Suarez in 5th, and what a start by him, side by side Sean and Maze.
Yeah, it was absolutely. It's been a bit of a crazy start. There was a little bit of contact early on in the race, turn 1 actually. Blizzard and Spike came into side-to-side wheel contact. Blizzard a little bit sideways, but managed to hold it, and that's how Z3 got past. So that's why he's lost the place. But Z3 is all over the road. Lewis is trying to go around the outside into turn 3. He's got the inside line. What a move on Maze, and Maze has
going to have all sorts of issues here because Casper's just gone through and Honey Badger could come through as well around the outside. Somebody cut in on you, Aiden, but Honey Badger's round the outside through turn 4. Him and Maze, Maze just cutting him off slightly. Could have given him a little bit more room there, I feel, but Honey Badger just about trying to go for a move. Speedy Suarez has gone round through the chicane at turn 6 and 7. So Speedy Suarez now round on template damage, and it looks like Casper's been caught up in that one. Not sure what happened there. That was a horrible camera angle. What happened there?
I think Suarez spun all on his own at the chicane, and then as he rejoined the track, he rejoined straight onto the racing line. Casper didn't really have the time to react to it, so went straight into the side of him, and Conti got caught up in the aftermarket as well. So that's 3 drivers with front wing damage at the back of the field now.
It is very difficult to rejoin track in a safe manner around the chicane, if I've got to be honest. So Suarez might just feel a little bit of a slap wrist coming his way. But a very good move there by Lewis. He made up great progress, got round the outside through turn 3. He's now on the back of Sean, and he's made up 6 positions early on, tied with Honey Badger for the most positions gained so far in the race. Lewis is on fire so far.
Yeah, he's had an amazing start, and he's on the back of Sean. He's not going to go for the move in turn 1, he's just not close enough, but really good top 5, maybe top 3 finish at the end of this race. We know how fast he is, and he's had a brilliant start. He's making the most of it. Another person who's had a brilliant start from pretty low qualifying is Victor. So he was a bit down on where we usually see him. He's already up to 6th, and he's all over the back of Venom. Venom just doesn't have the pace at this point in the race. Victor's much more confident, so Victor on for a possible P5 if he gets past Venom. Just looking up in front as well, Z3 to let Blizzard through after a little mistake from Z3 at the exit at turn 3. So Blizzard's now up to P3, but Toxic starting to run away with it a little bit.
Yeah, Toxic won. The tyres back up. All of these guys who were on track currently going on set of mediums, apart from YWR Storm yet to pit in. Ollie Flavel, by the way, I think he retired in the pit lane if I'm not mistaken, so Ollie Flavel is out of the race, so will not play a further part in this feature race. Hopefully he might have some sort of setup for the sprint race, however. Vic Mill on the back of Venom, and he's on the back here, and the pole's really attributing himself well. Brandon Glover, I feel, has started well. He had a great start, and then it's all gone wrong as I've just commentators cursed him as he goes wide through the hairpin. What a recovery. 10 points for style there.
Yeah, absolutely. That was more of a drift king moment. That was for Brandon Glover. Brilliant stuff. Well held from him, but yeah, he's popped over 2 seconds off the back of the 2 in front. But he's not been overtaken. So he's got time to gain the time back that he just lost. Meanwhile, Lewis is on the inside for Sean for turn 1. Honey Badger's past Maze as well down into turn 1. Lewis, is he late enough on the brakes? He goes on the space on the exit of the corner. A little bit. Poor traction for Lewis. He's on the grass. Just about holds it on the exit. Another brilliant save. He doesn't lose the place himself as well, but he's got to regroup and get back after Sean again, which is P8 for the moment. Casper meanwhile had pitted as well to change his front wing. And yeah, Honey Badger past Maze, and Honey Badger now up to 10th. Lewis holds on to P9 for the time being. Yeah,
literally said he completed the move and then it all went wrong for him. So I'm not going to speak. I'm not going to speak when drivers get a move done because I could commentators curse them. That's twice already tonight. Take a shot for every single time that commentators curse somebody out on track. I do, certainly. Blizzard on the back of Spike though, he's looking very quick now, and the Trident car on the back of the Univitosi. 2nd and 3rd, Blizzard looks all over the back. Toxic though is getting away out in front, and these guys do not want to let Toxic get off the front end too much. It's 2.1 seconds pretty much. Toxic driving well so far, Spike just running slightly wide, but Blizzard's all over the back here.
Yeah, Blizzard looking much more racy now in this part of the race than he was at the start. He had a little bit of a mistake. Now that Z3 is setting through, he's much faster than Spike, but Spike has a really good exit from the hairpin, so I don't know if Blizzard's got the move into turn 1. Blizzard sets the fastest lap of the race. Spike
on the outside?
All the way to the inside.
No.
He's not letting enough on the brakes, he can't do it. He's going to wait for turn 2, I think. But is he going to get a good exit? He's a little bit sideways mid-corner, and Spike gets the better traction again. So Spike seemingly more confident on traction on the exit of the hairpins, and that's sailing him down the straights at the moment. And then from here on out, there's not really an overtaking spot around this track. So Blizzard's going to have to wait until the straight again. He's just not close enough to make the move into turn 4 either, so that's more time is going to have to wait. Meanwhile, Venom and
Honey Badger! Sorry to cut in, I was just watching the 2 dams having a good battle. Siege has got through on Maze, but Honey Badger has spun. Didn't quite see what happened there. It looked like he might have just caught an overspin through turn 2, and he's lost both positions to the dams cars. So Honey Badger very much struggling out on track tonight. I wonder actually if he's on a pad rather than a wheel, because he seems to be struggling more tonight than he did last couple of weeks.
just on board with him actually. I think he's really struggling with tyre temperatures. He is all over the place mid-corner. He has no grip in those tyres. I think he may be overheating those tyres. Obviously with a half spin as well, that doesn't help, but it looks like he might be struggling with overheating as he has another moment on the exit of that corner. He's really struggling.
He is really struggling out on track. My prediction for top 3 is going quite wrong so far for him. Blizzard on the back of Spike though, 0.4 of a second. Is he going to line himself up for a move down towards turn 1 or perhaps down even towards turn 2? Let's find out. Toxic response. New fastest lap for the race, 31.4. Blizzard looks slightly... I'm trying to find the right word there. He looks slightly behind compared to normal. He brakes very much late on the back there of Spike. Can he get the move done down towards turn 2? I don't think he's going to be close enough. Yeah, you've got to really be within 2.5 tenths, I think, to try and get any sort of move done down in towards the corner. Lewis, by the way, has got the move done on Sean. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm not going to Commentators curse him this time. Yeah, he's got the move done. Round the outside he goes and through the P8 and Blizzard side by side with Spike, maybe?
Yeah. He thought about it into turn 4, he just didn't have the overspeed to get it done, so he has to stick behind Spike for another lap by the looks of things. But yeah, just another thing to note on as well, Venom's got into his stride a little bit more. He's starting to drop Vic Mill and he's catching C3 for P4, so Venom's back into a good rhythm and he's looking on for P4 at the moment. He takes a lot of sausage curve on the inside of that chicane, and C3 is all over the road.
Oh.
Well help from C3. The number of people really struggling with the grip, they're all over the place at this point, and these are people on the mediums. I can't imagine what people on the softs are feeling at this point. They must be really struggling.
Yeah, soft runners, obviously, they can only last about 4 or 5 laps before the dudes start to wear off around here. And as I say, 5% wear on the tyres for the set of soft runners. These medium guys are going to be running 4% tyre wear, so you can probably appreciate how difficult it is for these guys out on track. We approach the start of lap 7. Toxic leading the way by 2.7 seconds, and that gap continues to increase a couple of tenths per lap. Spike feeling the need to try and break the toe here on Blizzard, and again, he's just not close enough, Blizzard, to try and get the move done, and in fact he's further away from him this time than he was the previous 2 laps. Gives him a little bit of a tap there through turn 1, but I think he's not going to get the move done unless he's going to go and try and go all the way around the outside here at turn 2. No, he's aware of the danger. Spike stays there. Venom down the inside. Sorry to cut in. Venom's down the inside of Z3, sir, trying to go around the outside and towards turn 3. The MP Motorsport driver driving well. Not going to get the move done there, though.
Yeah, not going to get the move done. Unfortunately, doesn't have the overspeed. One thing for Blizzard, he's going to have to try and change his line a bit into the last corner. He's running the same line as Spike, and Spike just has the better traction. And Blizzard isn't close enough, so he's going to have to try something different to try and get past. Oh, as I say that, my word. Every time we go on board with something, we say something good about having to overtake, they have a massive moment. We're really cursing and stay for Blizzard was a little bit great, really off, he nearly spun completely, but I think Blizzard might be a little bit closer this time round, but we know that Spike is a little bit faster in this last sector, so we have to keep an eye out to see whether Spike does the same thing this time around or whether Blizzard can keep with him. I'm not quite sure. I think Spike may be under a little bit more pressure this lap than previous. I think Spike's going to have to try and break the toe and defend a little bit harder now. Still got the gap on the exit of the corner. It's been about 4.5 tenths each lap. Blizzard's gone for a little bit of a wider line this time for a better run onto the straight. And it's about 3.5, so it's definitely closer this time round. Right all the way to the wall defending. He's not giving any room on the inside. So Blizzard have to go to the outside. Blizzard really late on the brakes. Wow. Is he going to be able to get that one stopped? He gets it stopped. Spike
no way.
Gives him the track on the outside.
Wow.
And Blizzard powers around the outside. That's the move done. That's Blizzard up to P2. Spike. I think Spike was a little bit too nice there. Spike had the inside of the corner. Oh my word. Spike just taps the back of Blizzard midway through turn 2. He gets a little bit sideways, but Spike, he was a car ahead of Blizzard, but he left Blizzard the room. I think that was a little bit too nice on Spike's part, and Blizzard got the run on him. So Blizzard now, what can you do? A race.
Yeah, Blizzard up to P2, fantastic move. Just ran on board as well. Honey Badger and Maze having a right ding-dong up the hill towards turn 4, trying to get the move done here, the dams against the Arc Grand Prix, and Maze is through on Honey Badger, as Honey Badger was actually trying to get past Maze, so Maze defending the position there, out on track. Sean and Siege beginning to battle as well. Not been Siege's race so far, but somebody that's beginning to come into the race for me is Venom. He's beginning to hunt on Z3, sir. He's only 3 seconds off the back pretty much of Spike in 3rd. Venom looks like he's got the pace. Whether he can get the move done though on Z3, sir, remains to be seen. And Vic Mill's keeping with these guys as well, so Vic Mill's not too far off.
Absolutely not. I think this is kind of this is exactly what we just had really with Spike and Z3xer. That's the problem. Getting up close to Z3xer, but Z3xer is faster in all the right places, and Venom can't make the move stick at the moment. And as I say that, Venom gets another poor exit out the last corner, so he's not really going to be close enough unless it's that late move. Z3xer's not defending it yet. Not confident enough on the brakes to go for the move, but Z3xer breaks himself. So Venom's down the inside, but Venom a little bit sideways on the apex. Z3xer spun on his own and caught Venom. Oh, that's such a shame. That's such a shame for both of them. Z3xer was on with a good run. Venom was on for and they're both in the wall. What a disaster.
That is horrible to see. Z3xer just having a bit of opposite lock coming out of turn 2. We got the power down through the corner. Lewis has now gone through on him, and it looks like Z3xer actually, is he slightly holding up, wetting up for Venom, who has got back underway in 12th position. Right side end plate damage and end plate damage as well for Venom out on track. So unfortunate. Yeah. I think they were going to have a good run down towards turn 2, all being well. And Z3xer is getting out of the way past Siege and Sean go past him. Z3xer will definitely be into the pits. Soft compound of tyres for 10 laps though. It's going to be quite a hard stay on those tyres.
Yeah, that's going to be very difficult for him. He's going to have to run around and not really push to try and save those tyres for the end of the race. But that's a real shame for Z3xer. He was on for a good result. I think probably around P5 or 6 is where he would have ended up in that race. That would have been, honestly probably one of his best performances so far in this championship up to this date. But unfortunately, just a little bit trigger happy on the throttle, and it's just a big time.
Yeah, unfortunate for Z3xer. Unfortunate for Venom in the wrong place at the wrong time as well. Nothing bad about that. Victor sideways out the final corner. Goodness me, I saw that in the back of shot there. BWT Arden car going sideways, nearly over the curb, coming out the final corner. Z3xer into the pits. Maze will go up into P10 then out on track. Blizzard's now gapped Spike to about 1.1 seconds, but Toxic just seems to be the quicker man out on track. He's dominating, and my prediction of first and second at least is coming right.
Absolutely, yeah. Toxic looks a bit more comfortable around this track. I think this track probably suits his driving style a little bit more. He's a bit more on the maybe technical side. He's maybe enjoys the lower speed more than the high speed kind of circuits. And it's definitely showing at the moment. Whether Blizzard can start catching, they're kind of matching each other's pace at the moment. I think since Blizzard's passed Spike, the gap's increased by about 3/10 over 3 laps. They're pretty much to the point. Spike isn't out of it yet. Spike could still be on for an undercut maybe on Blizzard, and he's definitely close enough to be within territory of be putting on the soft earlier and on Blizzard, and then doing the same thing he did earlier on in the race and pulling Blizzard back. So it's going to be interesting to see what strategies people decide to do in the end. They think waiting longer so that they don't wear out quick enough is the better option, or whether they come in early and do the undercut and maybe get the transition.
There's a good battle for 13th going on here. Here comes Casper down the inside on Suarez. The hand of rage goes up from Casper's driver. Speedy Suarez trying to go around the outside there, and he's managed to complete the move off track. He will have to give up the position, of course. Casper to the inside line and to the outside line now through turn 2. Suarez is going to have a go at him, outbreaks himself. Casper should switch it to the inside, but gets the car stopped somehow. Suarez through, and he's up into 13th position out on track. But both of these guys maybe just racing a little bit too aggressively, and we saw the hand of God come up there from Casper's driver.
Oh, Casper down the inside for turn 5.
No way.
Suarez losing the space. There's a tiny bit of contact, but they just get away with it. So Suarez just holds onto the pace. Meanwhile, Sean and Honey Badger are side by side down into turn 2. Honey Badger trying to make up for that little error he made. Sean stick down the inside, but Honey Badger's going to get the better traction on the exit of the corner.
Got him.
Yeah, he's got him. But Honey Badger slowed through the corner. Sean had to back out and not run into the back of him. So Honey Badger's up to P8, and that's first grid pole at the moment, which is what he needs to try and bring himself back into contention for the sprint race.
Yeah, Sean just weaving there a little bit. I think Honey Badger had control of the car going into the corner. Probably wasn't expecting him to go slow through the corner. Honey Badger had completed the move. Oh my goodness me, he's gone off.
Yeah, he had a massive rear lock on the way into the corner. Don't know if he touched the curb or the grass on the way in, but a rear lock, and he's falling back behind Sean again. He came to a stop in the chicane, trying not to get a penalty, which is smart from him, but yeah, that's him back behind Sean again. So little errors for here and there from Honey Badger are really costing him at this point. He's trying to make his way forwards, but every time he makes progress, he then falls back again. Meanwhile, Mace has actually left the session, unfortunately, so hopefully he's able to get back in as soon as he can.
Yeah, YWR Storm has retired from the session as well. That is through turn 5.
Oh, Honey Badger's round. Sorry to cut in. Honey Badger did exactly the same thing as Brandon Glover did earlier on in the race, but has fully spun it in the penultimate corner. He went far too deep into the corner and spun the car. He wasn't able to control it like Brandon Glover was earlier on. And that's another mistake from Honey Badger. He's over 5 seconds off the back of Sean now.
Oh.
Look how much he's struggling for grip. His tyres are absolutely cooked at this point. He's got to come in at the end of this lap.
God, Honey Badger is making drifting look like an art form actually out on track, to be honest, tonight. Honey Badger's doing a fantastic job, though. He's still 9th. Mays I think Honey Badger benefited from Mays actually leaving the session there. So he's got a little bit of a buffer, and the further he goes and gaps Mays now, before he takes control of his car, because I've just seen him rejoin, the better it will be for him towards the latter stage of the race. There's not really much going on, but just to put a big point out there, Toxic is gapping Blizzard at a very consistent rate of about 2 or 3 tenths per lap. I know the fastest lap was set there, I think, by Venom. Toxic 5.2 seconds away. He is controlling this race beautifully out on track. I don't want to ruin his chances of getting the race win, but Toxic is 5.3 seconds ahead of Blizzard, who we know is a very good driver. He's going to go for an extra lap as well. Is Blizzard going to come in, I wonder? No, he's not. They're going to stay out.
So is Spike. They don't think they can take the softs long enough, which is fair enough. I think if it's better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to put the softs on too early and then risk getting a puncture at the end of the race. That's definitely a big mistake to do. Meanwhile, Honey Badger's actually made another mistake. Yeah. He has now fallen behind Mays, so definitely, I think Honey Badger's definitely going to come in now. His tyres are absolutely cooked at this point. There's not really any point in him continuing on because he's just making mistakes. He keeps falling down position, so he's got to be in. Sean's the first person to pull the trigger, though. He's the first person to come in. Is he going to try and get the undercut on Siege, maybe? Meanwhile, I was just looking at fastest laps. Venom came in with the fastest lap at a 30.1. I think that's about 1.5 seconds quicker than what the fastest lap was previously set by Toxic. So the undercut here is looking incredibly powerful. So I imagine if Blizzard does not pit this lap, I imagine we'll see Spike in.
Yeah, just to correct you there, a second separating Venom and Toxic's fastest lap, yeah. So a second separating. Sean just about to come out of the pits on that set of soft compounder tyres, as my thighs feel like they're absolutely burning after my workout earlier on. Goodness me, trying to get comfortable, there we go. But pretty much nothing going on out on track. Maze and Honey Badger, though, quite close to each other, coming out of the pit lane. Just going to go on board with Toxic. If we can, there we go, we're on board with him now. 5.6 seconds ahead, and he's really dominating out on track. He's going to go another lap.
Yeah. He thinks that, I think Toxic thinks that staying out
as
on
is
the
Blizzard.
mediums is Blizzard thought about it. You could see him just have a
Spikes
little
in.
look. Spikes in. Yeah, Spikes in. He's going to try and get the undercut on Blizzard. Let's see if he can. That's a idiot, because we'll see what Spike can do. But I think Vic Mill's in as well, by the way, so is Brandon Glover. Pretty much everyone else is in, apart from Lewis, which is a bit of a mistake from... Oh, it's actually, sorry. I thought Spike had stayed out. Yeah, I think he came into the pit, which said about 10 seconds ago. My mind's going crazy, but Lewis stayed out because his teammate came in, so Lewis is the only other one to stay out at this point. But I think Toxic decided to stay out just because he's got a good lead now, that he's not really under risk of an undercut from people behind. And he thinks that it's better to stay out on mediums and then risk going on softs and having them tight at the end of the race and maybe throwing away a win that way. So he's going to make sure that he can keep the softs, keep life in the softs towards the end of the race.
Yeah, just watching on board with Brandon Glover's pit stop there. Held up in the pits by Vic Mill slightly, now 2 seconds behind. But coming out of the pits, I just noticed he picked up a 5-second time penalty for speeding and coming into the pit lane. So that is going to really hamper him in his efforts going forward. Sean is going to be behind Siege coming out the pit. Oh, Siege coming out the pit, Sean will be behind him. Honey Badger and Maze still going at it though. I keep one eye on Toxic, as Honey Badger's just sailed on by Maze, in fact, to the final point scoring position. He goes. The Dutchman is through and he's up to 10th. Hopefully on these tyres he'll be a bit quicker, I think, out on the track, and he's now gapped Maze to already 6/10 of a second. So you can see the pace is there. It's just the tyres that have been struggling. Toxic's in and Blizzard's in. Oh no, Blizzard's staying out for another lap.
That's risky. That's really risky from Blizzard to stay out another lap, considering Spike's already come in. He's taking a risk. He thinks that the softs aren't going to be able to make it to the end for Spike. Does Blizzard have the pace? At this point, I don't quite know, because he was still dropping time to Toxic. Toxic looked far faster at this point in the race than Blizzard did. And Spike wasn't really that much slower than Blizzard. It was maybe 2-3 tenths a lap. So he's under real pressure now for being undercut from Spike.
Yeah, just having a look actually in terms of Toxic's last lap time. Before he came into the pits, he set a personal best of a 31.1. Blizzard's lap time was a 131.6. But it was a 132.1 last lap around, importantly.
Spike sets the fastest lap of the race. Not fastest lap of the race, sorry, it's the fastest last sector. He's absolutely flying. His gap to Toxic was, I would say, about maybe 8.5, 9 seconds before they came in. It's already down 3 after 1 lap, so Blizzard's under real pressure.
You can imagine the gap, as you say, 1.5 seconds if he's closed in to Toxic in front of him on a set of soft competitor tyres. Wow.
Sorry to jump in. 29.3 from Honey Badger. That's insanely fast.
That's nearly quicker as one-shot qualifying.
Yeah, that's incredibly fast. That was nearly a second quicker than what Venom do on the same tyre. Honey Badger's flying.
Absolutely unbelievable by Honey Badger, 29.3. We should see those lap times continue to come down though. Toxic now chasing Lewis for second position. There's not really much going on out on track. Blizzard though is staying out again. What's he doing?
He doesn't think the softs can make it to the end. He definitely thinks that the softs aren't going to be able to last for Toxic and Spike, but this is it.
This is risky.
This is surely Spike into net P2 now. There's not really anything Blizzard can do at this point. Lewis is following him around as well. But I think Lewis actually just made a mistake in the last corner as well, and he's dropped a heap of time. So he's gonna fall way back down the field. He's probably gonna fall about. He'll be closer to Sean and C3, sir.
Coming out the final corner, Spike 27.5 seconds behind Blizzard. Take that and note it down. 1.5 seconds quicker than his personal best. That last lap around. Spike is going to be theoretically ahead of Blizzard by, I would say, about 2 seconds out on track. There's a spin out to Lewis. Lewis has ran through turn 2. Has he got a puncture? No. Let's have a look. There's Spike coming through.
Oh, just gets out of the way and Spike. That was really, really close.
He's got something wrong with that car. No, he's got the car going again.
I can't quite see if he's got a puncture. He has got a I can't quite see if he's got a puncture now or not.
No, he hasn't.
He's out letting everyone through, which is smart. But yeah, his tyres are absolutely finished.
Actually, does he? Or is there a gearbox issue? I wonder.
I'm not sure. I can't really tell. If he definitely hasn't got a puncture, I don't think. I think his tyres may just be cooked at this point, and he's really struggling with overheating. Blizzard, I think, is fine. He's not. Blizzard's staying out another lap.
What the hell is he doing? 26.5 seconds. No, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. At this point in the race as well, Spike is faster than Toxic. Wow.
At this rate, Blizzard will be under pressure from Victor.
Oh, Lewis has spun again.
His tyres are absolutely finished at this point in the race.
He must have a puncture. I think it's that rear right tyre if there is a puncture on that car. It has to be, unless there's some sort of failure with the setup, possibly.
I'm not quite sure. His gearbox is really not moving. It seems to be changing into neutral, so I don't know. Maybe he does have a problem with his gearbox.
Might be a gearbox. I wouldn't say it's a gearbox failure as sort. Oh, and he's really snapping this.
Yeah. He's just got to try and get it around and get it into the pits. He doesn't need to push too hard. He's not
suspension
really
damage, I'm thinking as well.
He's not really under pressure from anyone behind, so we just need to cruise it in and put some softs on and go to the end of the race. But yeah, a disaster for Lewis. Really, he stayed out one too many laps at this point. But I was looking at lap times for Spike and Blizzard. Spike was about 1.5, nearly 2 seconds a lap faster than Blizzard at this point.
Wow.
Blizzard will be under pressure from Vicknell, possibly. I think he might just be safe. Meanwhile, Lewis has actually retired from the session. I think he crashed.
Crashed in the pit lane.
Yeah, he's crashed from the entrance, so he's not going any further in this race. He's going on board with Blizzard.
Into the pit wall.
Blizzard stayed out.
He's gonna. Does Blizzard realise there's regulations here?
Surely, yeah, exactly. His
engineer will tell him to come in next lap. Well, this lap around.
Yeah, this is the last chance he has to pit, so he's leaving it 1 lap. This is a really, really bizarre strategy call from Blizzard, in my opinion. Had he come in probably around the same lap, maybe as Spike, he probably would have had P2 signed, sealed and delivered, really. I don't think he was fast enough to catch Toxic, but he would have had second pretty much wrapped up. But at this point in the race, he's just gifted second to Spike at this point.
The conditions in the track's beginning to change.
Yeah, maybe I wonder if Blizzard thought the rain was going to come down, and he's going to stay out until the rain and then put a set of wets on. But at this point in the race, it's too late.
Way too late.
It's way too late. The rain's not come down, and he's only half a lap away from being disqualified if he doesn't pit. So this just hasn't worked for Blizzard. I would have, even if it's a risky strategy, especially considering he's the championship leader, it's a risky strategy to try and do that because it puts you under pressure for the finish. So probably smart to stay on the same strategy as everyone else, and then if the rain came, just follow everyone else in and secure P2.
Well, let's see if he's going to come into the pit lane. If not, he's getting disqualified. Let's have a look.
Let's see if he comes in. He's probably going to have to come. He can't have forgotten to pit.
He is. Yeah, he's in, that last.
Maybe the wet weather thing is what he wanted. Maybe he thought the rain was going to come down and it just hasn't arrived yet. So that's just not worked for Blizzard at this point. It's really not worked.
So he's going to be out, maybe behind Vic Mill, Brandon Glover, possibly.
Brandon Glover's flying as well. He's catching Vic Mill, so he's throwing himself into play now.
Well,
this really helps the likes of Vic Mill and Spike in the championship as well, who were the two closest to him.
Yeah, it does indeed. Blizzard is coming out the pit lane. He's going to be out well in front of Vic Mill, actually.
Yeah, he's going to be safe, actually. So Spike's into P2.
Yeah, Spike into P2. He's going to be about 2 seconds ahead coming out the pits. Actually, it's going to be way less than that.
Close, but Blizzard just held on to P3.
So, final lap of the race then. Blizzard has came out in third position in one of the most weirdest pit stops that you might ever see in TTL F2. Toxic leads the way by 11 seconds. And really, let's just put it into perspective, he's dominated this race.
There's the rain, sorry to cut in. There's the rain. That's the rain that Blizzard was waiting for. It's come too late for him. It's just not worked out at this point. Which is a shame. At least he's not falling behind Vic Mill and Brandon Glover, but kind of threw away a P2 result there and ended up in bit of a bizarre choice there. Going back to Toxic. I don't want to jinx him on the last lap of the race, especially with the rain.
He's struggling. He's beginning to struggle though. There's a good battle going on ahead actually. It's Suarez and Conti battling out for 12th and 13th. Coming round.
Really going for it, yeah. I think
they are
Conti's
really
quite quickly.
Yeah, Suarez has been caught quite quickly here by Conti. 4/10 of a second. Toxic there in the background is going to come around the final corner. He is going to win here in the feature race. Sprint race still to come. Hopefully the standards of driving will be better, but it's Toxic around the final corner to win, and Suarez has been disqualified for failing to use the required compound of tyres.
Yeah, he pitted before the pit stop window. He pitted before lap 3, which is the mandatory pit stop window to change his tyres, and he pitted before then, so that's why he ended up disqualified from the race.
Yeah, just to confirm that, 16 laps. So he pitted actually pretty much on lap 3, I think.
I think he pitted on lap 2. Yeah.
End of lap 2.
Yeah. And he put the softs on at he started on. He's put mediums on and might pit it again and put another set of mediums on. So that's just not worked for him at this point. Just looking at everyone else coming across the line, it's going to be Honey Badger in 7th. Sean's going to be on reverse grid pole then for the sprint race. Honey Badger passes Sean on penalties. But yeah, so unfortunately he's going to end up in 9th after being in the top race. Mays the line in 11th and then it's Venom. And we've got about half a lap to wait before Conti crosses the line as well. Castle's actually spun at some point around the track as well, so he's also part of his front wing and he's a lap down, so it's really not on Castle's way today.
Yeah, Casper right side end plate damage on his car. Conti has got left side end plate damage, has he? No, he hasn't. That's just my eyesight from a helicopter cam. Conti coming through in 12th position. Relatively good drive from him. He was fighting with Suarez coming on to the final lap, or what would have been the final lap of the race for those guys. They weren't lapped by the leader. The rain's still coming down. Conti now coming through the final corner. He is going to finish in P12, and we're going to wait until Christmas until Casper comes across the line for 13th position. No time like waiting for Christmas, I think, especially in these circumstances that we're in.
Yeah, definitely. It's a shame for Conti. I think Conti, had he not been involved in that incident early on with Suarez and Casper, I believe he probably could have fought the likes of Sean and maybe as he beats her for a reverse grid pole. But still, good to see him continuing on in the track, even though he's unfortunately not going to score any points. It's still good to see him continue on and fight to stay out on the track and maybe in case any chaos happened. But I think the chaos would have came if the rain came earlier, and it unfortunately didn't work, and that didn't work for Blizzard to end up finishing P3 instead of P2.
Casper hopefully going to be coming across the line within the next 50 seconds. And he has. Did he get a penalty as well, actually? Or did he get disqualified? No. He came across the line, he got a penalty, I think it was a 5-second stop go, but the rain coming down right at the end of the race there, it was Toxic who dominated out on track. He's put in the comment section, I'm glad I listened to myself and not Jeff. I think that's the order of the day for Toxic.
Yeah, I think maybe that's what Blizzard fell foul of. Maybe the race engineer told him to do something different, and it just didn't work, unfortunately. And by the look of things, Mike Williams, I'm probably assuming that's Lewis, said that he had a gearbox issue. So he lost third gear midway through that race towards the end, which is why he ended up spinning and losing all that time.
If I'm not mistaken, that might be Siege, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, that might be Siege, ooh.
It's definitely not Lewis.
Mike Williams Spike. Mike Williams Spike. There we go, so Spike at the end of the race.
We got there in the end.
We got there in the end, yeah, but fair enough for Spike to come home the missing third gear around this track especially. Fair enough to him for finishing P3 with a broken gearbox. P2, sorry.
Yeah, I got XP for that. 2,500 XP. Fantastic. Toxic wins. Top 3 remain as they are, by the way. Toxic wins from Spike in second. So good drive from Spike, considering he lost third gear. Blizzard finishing in third. Vic Mill in fourth. Brandon Glover in fifth. 5-second time penalty added on to his time. Didn't fall foul of Siege though in 6th, so Brandon Glover 5th, Siege 6th, Honey Badger 7th, Sean and Nate 3rd to 9th, Maze picking up that final point scoring position from Venom, 2 seconds the gap in the end, Consi finishing 12th, Casper also finished. It was unfortunate for Lewis, he drove well for the majority of the race, YWR Storm, and the other two that I've totally forgot off the top of my head. Ollie Flavel was one, and YWR Storm was the other, I think, if I'm not mistaken. No. Suarez. Speedy Suarez. Got disqualified.
Yeah, got disqualified at the end of the race. That's just why he fell at the back of the field, unfortunately. Yeah, I was just streaming as well. Apparently, according to Top Stick, he said that the rain. They got told that there was going to be rain in the last third of the race, and unfortunately, rain didn't come. So that's why Blizzard went for that strategy call.
Like how he's blaming the game as well for
that. I mean, it has happened. I've fallen foul to it before. Sometimes on the obviously you see at the start of the race. Strategy and things, and it'll tell you the rain is maybe in the last 5 or 6 laps of the race, and the rain will come incredibly early. So it, like real life, weather's very hard to predict.
Very hard to predict. It looks a bit overcast here in Hungary coming into the second race, the sprint race, of course. All 17 are still here, which I'm very glad to report. So we should be getting underway for the action out on track very shortly. Indeed, we are underway for the formation lap. Everyone on a set of medium compound of tyres. Let's talk about then how these guys are going to get on the set mediums, because we saw in the feature race that they lasted 12-13 laps, some of them before coming into the pits. Blizzard on the other hand waited till the rain and went 18 laps, so even on 14 laps mediums will definitely last around here. Unless anybody gets contact, they'll only be going on softs if they get contact. Mediums, it should be the tyre to stick on. We always see it in the sprint race.
Yeah, I think there's not really there's no mandatory pit stop for a sprint race, and obviously a sprint race is only 14 laps long. There's not really any point in coming into the pits to change tyres. I think people might struggle a little bit towards the end of the race on the medium, but because obviously we're starting with less fuel in the car than we do in the feature race, the mediums will go a little bit longer than we saw in the feature race. So not many people are going to struggle, but I say that we saw Lewis on lap about 12 or 13 start to really struggle with his tyres, and he fell to the back of the field because of it, while Blizzard stayed out and managed to keep going. So it all depends really on how you drive the car.
I mean, we saw Honey Badger struggle from about lap 4, lap 5 because he was overheating the tyres, and look where it's ended him. Finished 7th in that race from all of those moments out on track, and a 10 out of 10 drift through the final corner. Honey Badger nearly said something else there, but Honey Badger may be a leading contender for the sprint race win, methinks.
Yeah, I'm probably thinking along the same lines as well. Honey Badger, if he's able to iron out those little errors, I think Honey Badger's probably maybe dead set on for a possible win, because we know how fast he is. I think if I'm thinking about the rest of the podium positions, I think we might see a good race of Toxic. Toxic had really good pace in that feature race, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him come through the field again for the sprint. I think I'll put Toxic in second. Third, I'm going to go for Brandon Glover. I think Brandon Glover showed pretty decent pace in the last race, so I think he might be a good fit for a podium.
Interesting top 3. My top 3, do you know what? I'm going to go Honey Badger win, Vic Mill second, and Toxic third.
Fair enough. I was just thinking as well, I feel like this is the first time we haven't seen Vic Mill on the podium.
Yeah, Vic Mill could potentially be on the podium. I'm going to let you take the start.
Absolutely, and we'll just wait for the lights then. Here we go, who's going to get the best start out of the people at the front of the field? Just waiting for the lights to go out. Here we go then. Here come the lights ahead of the drivers then. 5th light on. Who's going to get the best start at the front row? Off the line, Honey Badger gets an incredible start compared to Sean. I think he's already going to make the move. So did Brandon Glover against Siege. Brandon Glover makes a brilliant start. So does Vic Mill. Siege actually falls through the field a little bit. Honey Badger takes the net though. They're 3 wide into turn 1. Brandon Glover in the middle. There's Blizzard on the inside of Vic Mill as well. Blizzard's had a brilliant start. Someone's spun in the background. That's Suarez, I believe. Yeah, Toxic's up to 5th. He's had an incredible start as well. Honey Badger and Brandon Glover side by side for the lead. Is Brandon Glover going to go around the outside? He doesn't quite have the traction, so Honey Badger holds on to the lead for the time being. Brandon Glover up to 2nd. Sean holding on to 3rd. We've got another yellow flag, so I think that might have been for Venom maybe.
Yeah.
Lewis is up past Siege as well. Siege has had he's dropped 6 places already. I don't know whether he missed the start of the race or whether he just didn't react in time, but he's fallen through the field pretty quickly. Blizzard up as Kane. Sean's all going to turn in though. There's not really a lot of space left by Sean. They're still side by side somehow. Another yellow flag, and Siege has actually retired from the race, unfortunately. Not quite sure why that is, because it looks like he's still going around on the track, but he's actually come off at the end of the chicane. Its way up to P3. So Sean drops to P4. Teammate's going to go for the inside line as well into the last sector. Is Storm with him coming. Toxic's delayed on the brakes, sends it down the inside. Sean seems to coming and let's. Yeah, brilliant start for Honey Badger and Brandon Glover and for Blizzard and Toxic as well. Pretty up to 3 and 4 from where they were on the grid. While Vic Mills dropped a place from the start. He's not quite been able to make his way past Sean yet either. Lewis is up 6 places. He's had a brilliant start. We've got Storm round in the background as well. Conti and Venom are side by third. Getting involved in that, and actually Conti spot on the inside of the last corner. But wow, what a crazy start. Meanwhile, Z3s are amazing side by side for P9. There's action absolutely everywhere. Z3s are down the inside trying to make up the pace that he lost at the start to Maze. He's going to get the move done. Maze gets the better traction on the exit of the corner. I think those Z3s might have line around the outside of the corner. Let's see how late Maze is on the brakes. It's pretty late, so is Z3, so he's incredibly late on the brakes.
No way.
And they're just still going to be side by side. Maze holds on to position but runs off track. But keeps P9 for the time being. Wow, what a crazy first lap that was.
Unbelievable, amazing. And Z3 is still trying to go around the outside of Maze, coming up towards turn 4. Got great commitment on the car. He doesn't want to run into the back. Suarez and Conti, I think, had a moment coming through turn 1, so they got caught up in a bit of an instant. Whatever you are, Storm, I think, got caught in that as well. Honey Badger, though, I saw how cocky it was coming across the start-finish line. It was waving across the line, thinking he'd already won the race. Probably, or unless he was getting heat into the tyres. Maybe the latter rather than anything else. But he's 1.3 seconds away, and this is the Honey Badger we like to know. He likes to pull away early on in the sprint races and really dominate from affairs. The more Brandon Glover holds Blizzard and Toxic up, the more Honey Badger will get away and really extend this margin out in front. But Toxic and Blizzard, are we going to be on for a showdown again like Baku, I wonder?
I imagine it might be possible. I think the problem here for Blizzard is he doesn't have the OS on Glover, but Brandon's not defending it for the time being. Is he going to let Blizzard go? I think he is, but Blizzard's not really late on the brakes. Brandon keeps it there on the outside. Is Brandon going to get the better traction on the exit of the corner? He's not, so Blizzard through, and Toxic isn't able to pass as well, so Blizzard's now up to P2. He's had a brilliant start.
Oh, Toxic!
Toxic! That's really late on the brakes. How he got that stopped, that's incredible how he got that stopped. Just enough space and is able to hold the position. Toxic's basically pushing him through turn 3. Toxic's got so much pace in the car, but he can't make the move stick around this track. It's so difficult to overtake. So Toxic's going to have to stay into P4. He's looking to the inside of turn 5. That's not going to work though. There's not really any room there, so he's not going to make the move stick. He's going to look into the chicane. He's not close enough. So Brandon holds on to P3. Toxic's still in P4. Toxic has a really good run through the chicane. Is he going to make the move stick? Brandon's still there on the outside. Brandon's going to have the inside for the next corner. Toxic gets a better run. Toxic's going to have the traction on the exit. He's going to have it through the king. Brandon a little bit of unsee. Yeah, Toxic's up to P3. Brilliant move from Toxic.
Wow. Fantastic driving that by Toxic. I was going to issue him with a little bit of patience, but I don't think patience was needed there, to be honest. Brandon was under all sorts of pressure. He handled the pressure very well, I may add, out on track, but Toxic is through, and he's up into P3, with maybe one of the best moves you might see in TTL F2 around here in Hungary. Very, very astute move that. Storm, by the way, spun through turn 5. And on to lap 4 we go. Honey Badger's got the lead. Blizzard in second. Toxic in third. The main 3 protagonists, as we've said, are in the top 3. But Spike is on the back of Vicmil, running a bit of a DRS train. Can he try and get the move done down in towards turn 1? He can't. Sean runs a little bit too deep. Maze and Z3xer side by side. Z3xer actually might have just outbroke himself slightly. He's got the move done on Maze. There was a little bit of contact. Oh my god!
Oh my word! Sorry to cut in. Vicmil did the switch back on Sean. It was really confident on the brakes, really late. There was a little bit of contact mid-corner. Sean forces Vicmil off the track. They're still side by side. Is Vicmil going to be confident enough to stick down the inside of the corner? Sean turns in.
No, never going to work.
Oh, Vicmil's round. No. Oh, that's such a shame. Second in the championship and he's in the wall. That's such a shame for Vicmil. But by the looks of things, he's entitled to a bit of space. He was fully alongside Sean and Sean turned in and hit the apex. So Vicmil wasn't really left any room there.
I've got to be honest, I think I see both of them at fault, to be honest, because I thought Vicmil was just a little bit too desperate to try and get the move done. He got the switchback done. Oh, it's 12. YWR Storm. Oh no, there is 11. Sorry, there is 11. YWR Storm right down the bottom there in 16th position. He's going to have a field day making up all of these positions.
But this absolutely massively helps Blizzard in the championship. His 2 closest rivals in the championship, which were Vicmil and Spike. Spike scored him in the feature race, Vicmil didn't, but both of them are out in the sprint race while Blizzard's in the lead. In second, sorry. So, and Storm meanwhile is retired, so there's only 2 people left. So everyone at this point is scoring points, but there's just a lot of chaos. And Blizzard is about to extend his championship lead even further at this point.
Yeah, 1.1 seconds the gap to Honey Badger, the gap currently. Just running a ball with Lewis and Sean, fantastic battle this. Lewis is trying to get the move done. He's really driven this F2 car well tonight, even though it all went wrong for him on lap 14 in the race. He's not going to go to the inside there, is he? Goodness me, God almighty, he's confident on that car, but God almighty, he needs to be careful here on Sean, trying to get the move done, trying to go around the outside now, the Univital man, replacing VRT Lyronics of course in the car, and he's ran the outside through turn 1. Can he get the move done? He can't, and I think he's going to be a little bit too far back down towards turn 2, unless he can switch it back down onto the inside line coming through turn 2, and to the outside through turn 3. No, he can't. Sean positions the car to perfection, and it's remained as it is. Sean 5th, Lewis in 6th position out on track. And the gap for the lead now under a second. Honey Badger leads, Blizzard second, Toxic in third. We could still get an instant classic between these 3. Blizzard and Toxic both running over the curve through the chicane though. Yeah,
they're both starting to catch both Blizzard and Toxic, both starting to catch Honey Badger. Like you said, Honey Badger likes to get out front pretty quickly in these sprint races, but Blizzard and Toxic, the 2 faster people at this point, and they're both starting to catch. So they're all going to Constantina up, and it's going to be a 3-way fight for the lead. But is Blizzard going to do what he tried and did with Sean and try and get past Honey Badger as quickly as possible and gap Toxic? Is that his plan? Or is Blizzard just going to play it safe now that his 2 main championship protagonists are out of the race? Does he just play it safe?
Oh, what a move. Lewis down the inside through turn 12. Sean gave him a lot of room to get the move done, but Lewis has got the move done. Sean, I don't think, let him through. Lewis so much more confident in that car. He's through up to 5th. Easy move that. Sean should have tried to fight that a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, I think because it's such an unorthodox pace to overtake someone, I don't think he was really expecting it, and Sean just sent it down the inside. Lewis, sorry, has just sent it down the inside. I think Sean probably would have expected it into turn 1 and 2 and would have defended it. So I think that was smart for him to do it. Where you're going to catch someone unawares. Is Lewis fast enough to catch back on the rubber at this point for P4, maybe?
He could be 4.5 seconds. We're only halfway through the race. Well, pretty much reaching the halfway stage now. Casper's left the session. We thank him though for attending out on track. Honey Badger leads by 0.6 of a second from Blizzard in second. Toxic in third. I'm going to argue the point though. Toxic's looking quicker at the top 3, I think.
Yeah, I think Toxic is the front at the moment, but obviously it's Budapest. It's incredibly difficult to make a move stick. And now that they're going to be in a DRS train, it's going to be even more difficult for Toxic to make a move, because he can't make a move on Blizzard until Blizzard tries to make a move on Honey Badger, because obviously the DRS is not going to allow him to make a move. So he's kind of going to have to wait at this point. He just has to really wait for Blizzard to pounce on Honey Badger, maybe capitalise on a mistake, or if these 2 start battling too much. But Blizzard's starting to drop back on Honey Badger a little bit. I think Honey Badger's starting to get back into a bit of a rhythm. Maybe he's pulled those tyres down a bit again. And Blizzard's under a little bit more pressure than Honey Badger is now. Yeah,
Toxic is on the back here of Blizzard. He's not going to get the move done on Honey Badger, I don't think, but Toxic is certainly going to line up the move here on Blizzard himself. But now they're stuck in that DRS train, and there's a bit of a rut to be stuck in. Toxic looking quicker though down the straight. He's beginning to try and catch. He's not going to come from this far back, is he, to try and get the move done? No, he's not. He's very sensible about it. It's just going to stay as it is. So Honey Badger first, Blizzard second, Toxic in third position. 7/10 of a second, by the way, Lewis has caught on Brandon Glover. He is so much quicker than the guys around him. He's got Sean to 1.7 seconds already. I mean, it's only a lap since he got that overtake done. And he's absolutely flying out on track. And in fact, he's 3.2 seconds now behind. How on earth? Oh, and he's nearly lost him. My God almighty, he nearly lost him. Jesus. My
commentator's curse.
Goodness me. Nearly lost it out of turn 3. Just took too much speed purely through the corner. And how he's recovered that is absolute skill. Absolute skill. He's only lost 3/10.
That's brilliant, and he's actually starting to make that time back. It's already done before, so brilliant stuff from Lewis being able to hold on to that. There's a number of that today. We always say how we always see one person making a brilliant save, and that's like the save of the race or the save for the evening, but we've seen a number of saves from a number of people. I think that's just the nature of this track. But yeah, brilliant stuff from Lewis to hold on to that. Let's see if he can regroup and start to re-catch Brandon again.
I think Lewis has made multiple saves actually out on track as well. He's like David Seaman at the controls of that car. You can get that if you were footballing Argentina before the 1990s. Toxic on the back of Blizzard, 3/10 of a second away on the back. And it's now 1.1 seconds separating the gap for the lead of the race between these three. I have a feeling though, Honey Badger is just maintaining something back maybe for the end of the race. Oh,
sorry to jump in. Blizzard, another massive moment. Oh, how on earth he had that? Did lose any time? That's incredible. He had a massive moment on the exit. Just ran on the curb on the track in the traction zone and got really sideways and didn't lose any time. That's incredible.
Toxic on the back though, 2.5 tenths behind. Going through turn 4. Yeah, Blizzard just looking a little bit quicker there actually through the first sector than Toxic. And Honey Badger, just having a bit of a slight moment for the lead of the race as well. So these may be beginning to feel the effects of the tyres, certainly. Honey Badger, I think his big advantage is going to be that DRS trend behind, but he's got to be aware of those tyres beginning to degrade on him. It's about 4% tyre wear, and just saying that, he's made a huge mistake, and Blizzard is now 3.5 tenths back from him. This could be the opportunity that these guys need to get back into this, because Honey Badger could really dominate out in front. My co-commentator has a few connection issues, I think, or controller issues, I think.
There we go, we're back.
You're back. What happened there?
I have no idea, my controller just turned off, but we're back. We're going again.
Very strange. Toxic on the back of Blizzard. I was just saying, actually, Honey Badger's main danger will be behind him rather than in front, because obviously they're in the DRS train. Honey Badger's tyres as well is going to be a factor coming into the next few laps of the race. Toxic to the back of Blizzard, not getting the move done, however. But these three just look quite in sync, to be honest. I've got to say, and Honey Badger at the moment is controlling the race to his point of view. He's controlling his race nicely, but he's got to be aware of his tyres. We saw it in the feature race with him, where they just overshot the cannon, essentially, out on track, and overshot their life. Is Honey Badger going to do the same thing? That is going to be fresh in his mind from the feature race. Could that get the better of him in these next 5 laps?
I think actually, thinking about it, I think Honey Badger's in actually a pretty decent position. I don't want to jinx him and say anything bad that will make him spin, but I think at this point Honey Badger's in a really good position. He's not having to keep up with people. He's running his own pace, so he can run to what his tyres are able to do, and Blizzard and Toxic at this point just have to follow. There's no real overtaking opportunities in the middle of the lap, and then when it gets to the last sector of the track, if the tyres are in good condition, you'll get good traction, and that's all you really need in the last sector to be able to hold on to the lead through turn 1 and turn 2. So Honey Badger's just running to his pace at this moment, and because Blizzard and Toxic aren't that much faster, they can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, Toxic running way too deep through the hairpin there. Blizzard just dropping back. I was going to say before that, Blizzard was catching Honey Badger through the entrance into the final sector. It's now 6 tenths again out on track. 4 laps to go. Honey Badger leads, Blizzard second and Toxic third. Really, it's a game of chess. Who is going to make the first move? Who is going to make the first overtake out on track? Are they close enough for an overtake first and foremost? My suggestion is no, they're not. Well, we've seen the last few laps, they're not close enough to try and get the overtake. Blizzard, I mean, has got to be about 3/10 away from Honey Badger to try and get any sort of move done coming off the final corner.
Yeah, that's the problem with this track, is it's so difficult to follow another car in the dirty air, and then you only really have one major overtaking opportunity. Overtaking at turn 2 only really happens if you're already alongside someone trying to move in turn 1, so turn 1's the only real possible overtaking opportunity, and it's so difficult to follow someone in the last sector around this track. So I think Blizzard at this point is just going to have to wait for a mistake from Honey Badger.
And that's going to be hard to come by because we haven't seen it so far this race. Venom picks up a 3-second time penalty. Sean as well picked up a 3-second time penalty early on in the lap. Toxic running wide there, but still the top 3 as they were. Just an update as well on Lewis's chase to the back of Brandon Glover. It's 2.3 seconds now, the gap between 4th and 5th. And Lewis, I've got to say, on his debut, he promised so much within the feature race. It didn't go right from then. He's now coming alive in this sprint race. He's beginning to thread the eye of the needle. He could be a one to watch in the coming rounds, I think.
Absolutely, definitely could. Meanwhile, on board with Blizzard, Blizzard got a brilliant run out the last corner. He might be close enough this lap. Is he going to go for a late move? Honey Badger's not defending it. Blizzard's laid on the brakes, but not laid enough. But he might be within striking distance for turn 2 if he gets good traction on the exit of the corner. Oh, Honey Badger doesn't. Honey Badger a little bit sideways, and he stays on the racing line. Honey Badger doesn't defend it. Blizzard's down the inside.
Oh, there's contact!
Blizzard's round. Toxic just avoids Blizzard. Just about gets away with it. But yeah, Blizzard kind of locked up and just understeers straight into the side of Honey Badger. That's pretty reminiscent of the 2 Red Bulls colliding in 2017. But yeah, just Blizzard just locking up and understeering straight into the side of Honey Badger.
Oh, I was going to say a bit of hint of desperation, but I didn't really see any desperation. He just lost it completely going into the curb, and especially getting caught on the curb on the inside. That really has now cost potentially a very good battle for the top 3. If both of them can slow down and let Blizzard catch back up and then let Brandon and Lewis get into play, we might have a top 5. But that's all a commentator can ask for at this stage.
That's what we can ask for at this point. Now we just have to see what Toxic's pace is. Obviously saw him at the back of the queue. Does he have the pace to re-catch Honey Badger in these last few moments? But I think Toxic having to get out of the way out of Blizzard kind of saved Honey Badger at this point. There wasn't really anyone at fault for that one. I'd probably say it's a racing incident. I think Blizzard was just a little bit too late on the brakes. Honey Badger definitely left him the space, and I think Blizzard just understeered straight into the side of him, so you can't really blame anyone for that incident. It's a shame, but Blizzard's still on for a podium at this point in the race, so it's not lost too much from that.
Suarez, by the way, came into the pits, not really sure what he's thinking. Maybe the fastest lap points extra for him. Extra points for fastest lap, but it's a bit bold. He was running in 7th. I mean, he's lost 2 positions. I don't really see the point in that, to be honest.
I thought that as well. He was running in 7th, and he's clearly going for the fastest lap point. He was running in 7th, which compared to 9th gains you more points anyway, running in 7th. Yeah. But Suarez is now caught behind Zebukster, so even if he wants to do the fastest lap, he's going to have to pass Zebukster first to be able to do it. So he's going to have to pass Zebukster, and then maybe he can possibly get on with it. But it's a very bizarre strategy call. Considering the fact that Sean in front of him has a time penalty, I'm not sure if Suarez has one or not. But Suarez might have been within striking range of the 6th place finish, so it's a bit of a bizarre strategy call.
Just check on the race director. Yeah, Suarez has got a penalty and 7 warnings in total.
Wow, okay, so he actually wouldn't have been able to pass Sean in the end, but still a P7 would have been a better result for him than where he is at the moment, which is a really bizarre choice.
Here he's on the back though of Z3xer, couldn't get the move done, surely down towards turn 1. Z3xer will cut across, trying to defend the line, but I think he realises what's coming. Suarez down the inside line, the Spaniard is through, and he's up, probably into P8 as they appear out of the slight camera shot glitch. And Suarez is through and he's up to 8th. Gets the move done. Toxic trying to chase down Honey Badger, but look at Lewis on the back of Brandon Glover. Where's this came from? 7/10 of a second. I think Brandon's made a mistake, because that was well more than a second.
Yeah,
Brandon certainly made a mistake.
It was closer to 2 seconds, so Brandon definitely made a mistake, but we're on to the last lap of the race. The second half of the race is absolutely flown by, and Lewis just isn't close enough in both DRS zones, so Lewis is going to have to make the move stick somewhere else in the lap if he wants to do it. Look how late Lewis is on the brakes compared to Brandon Glover. He gained so much time on the braking zone for turn 1, but he's just not close enough to get the move done in turn 2. The straight's just not long enough.
Yeah, Lewis right on the back of Brandon. I tell you what, he could go for a move down towards turn 4. If he can get the run through here, he's going to be right on the back of him. This could be it for Lewis. He could go around the outside and towards turn 4. He's surely not going to... No, he's not going to think about it. Oh, we're being robbed.
Go for the move for 5. He's looking at the move at 5. He's not quite close enough. Does he get a better on the exit for the move at the chicane? Brandon parks the bus on the inside of the corner, trying to stop the run for Lewis. Lewis thinks about looking to the inside, but there's just not enough room there.
3 seconds.
Picks up a time penalty though. That's going to drop him behind Lewis at this rate.
It's on the back of Brandon.
Meanwhile, Suarez does pick up the fastest lap point in the end.
Only by a couple of tenths though, I think.
Yeah, not really as fast as he possibly could have done, and there's a yellow flag in sector 1 somewhere. I think that might be for C3, so maybe.
Venom, I think.
Oh, here we go, Lewis. Lewis is still going to go for the move around the outside.
No way.
This one off, surely. Oh, Brandon gets
the
better exit out of the
line.
corner. Oh,
no
really
way,
close.
he's got it, he's got it, you know. Lewis is down the inside line. Honey Badger, by the way, across the line to win. Toxic in second. These are still going at it through the final corner. Lewis and Brandon trying to go around the outside through the final corner. Drag race to the line. Brandon and Lewis side by side. Lewis gets it on penalties.
Yeah, that was really close. That was almost reminiscent of Baku, but yeah. In the end, Lewis up 10 places from 14th on the grid to finish P4. He had a brilliant race. What a brilliant race for him. One thing I also didn't pick up on, Toxic had a time penalty. Blizzard still wasn't able to capitalise on it. So Toxic managed to hold on to P2 in the end.
Yeah, Toxic holding on to P2. 3-second time penalty. I think he picked that up through the chicane on lap 9, if I'm not mistaken. I'll check that now on the race director. Toxic, 3-second time penalty, lap 9. I'm a miracle, Mystic James right here.
Photographic memory.
Photographic memory. Suarez round in 8th position as Gapsy Threeks out on track.
Quite away actually, 10 seconds.
It must have made a mistake, I think. Z3 are out on track. 10 seconds behind. Cross the line in 9th. Amaze getting caught up in that collision as well is going to finish in P10. Now, I think it just attributes himself well to that crash. He continued on. There was drivers falling around him left, right and centre. Literally the partner of the red team. He's going to pick up a point, which I think will benefit him. But obviously that incident will definitely get investigated.
Absolutely, yeah. But Mays, I think, of all the people that were involved in that whole piece of chaos on that one, I think he's the only one that survived in the end.
He did. He's the only one that did survive that collision. He pitted in and he's finished in P10. YWR Storm as well didn't finish, so that really gave him the attribution to go for that final point. But it is that man again. It's Honey Badger, and for the first time in, I think, a while, I've got a prediction actually right for the win. Weird.
Absolutely. I'm just having a look as well in the race winners this season. I can't really remember the last time Honey Badger won a race. Honey Badger obviously won the championship last year, but I'm not quite sure really.
Let me have a check.
When the last time he won a race. I'm just having to double check myself actually as well to see when the last race he won was. I don't think he's actually won a race this. Oh, the last race he won was actually the sprint race for Spain. So that's the first time Honey Badger has won in 4 events.
Feature race for Spain. I'll correct you there. Feature race for Spain. He won. Yeah. But Honey Badger takes the win. 4.5 seconds in the end. 3-second time penalty for Toxic. Makes him hang on to second. Blizzard finishing in 3rd. Lewis in 4th. Great drive from him in the sprint race. Watch out for him next week, honestly. Could be a lively contender. Brandon in 5th, Sean in 6th, Venom in 7th, Suarez in 8th, Threeks in 9th. Well done to Maids as well for coming through that collision to finish in P10, pick up the final point scoring position. You don't get paid, in fact, if you get a DNF, and that is Ollie Flavel, Conti, Spike, Casper, YWR Storm, Vic Mill and Siege, pretty much all caught up in that collision, but I think Siege and YWR Storm.
Yeah, I think Vic Mill got caught up in his own incident, of course, with Sean at some point in that race, unfortunately. Siege retired pretty early on in that race as well after a pretty poor start. But yeah, everyone else apart from YWR Storm were involved in that bit of chaos. So yeah, a bit of a chaotic sprint race to say the least.
Chaotic sprint race. When is it not chaotic in the sprint race?
That's exactly what a sprint race is designed to do, really, isn't it?
Yeah, we never have a clean sprint race. I think that's what we're trying to get at. Hopefully we can improve the standards again for the sprint race. It's been fantastic to have your company, of course, Aidan, for Hungary. Final thoughts from you. Driver of the day.
I think my driver of the day is probably going to go to Toxic today. I think his feature race was absolutely dominant, and while he wasn't fast enough in the end to win the sprint race, he still came back from 8th on the grid to finish P2 at a track that's difficult to overtake on. So we did a pretty good job today, and it's Toxic back on form, so I think Toxic takes my driver of the day today.
I'm going to agree with you. Toxic driver of the day, very consistent in both races. Clearly, that championship win in League of Europe Formula 2 last night has given him the confidence to not only win a race, the feature race and finished second, in fact, in the sprint race. His title charge maybe begins now, and next week we go to from one of the shortest tracks on the calendar to the longest track on the calendar. It's Belgium, over 7 kilometres long. Quite a few cars, I think, are going to be struggling, and I think we're going to see quite a lot of overtaking down the Camel Straight.
I think we'll probably see a lot of overtaking, honestly, around the whole track. You've got so many overtaking opportunities in Belgium, from turn 1 to the bus stop chicane. You can overtake through Blanchimont. There's so many overtaking opportunities there. And Belgium is a very difficult track to run in these F2 cars. There's a lot of fast, sweeping, long corners, and with cars that obviously have a lot of understeer in them, it's going to be pretty difficult to master.
It's going to be very difficult to master, and hopefully everyone will be putting in the hours of practice that is needed to go around Belgium. As I say, it's been fantastic to have your company, Aidan. Thank you very much for commentating alongside me. Let you in for a little bit of a secret. I'm commentating with a very bad throat today. I've got an awful cough. Haven't coughed over the stream, I don't think, so I'm glad about that. But I think a rest in a drink, a very cold drink, is needed after the race here tonight. And thank you to everyone that has tuned in as well. Much appreciated. Obviously, we're still in lockdown. We find out on Sunday when and what our next steps are. But I think the best advice to give, as I always do on these streams now, is to stay at home, to protect the NHS, to protect your health service as well, and to save lives. Because if you do not stay at home, you do not save lives. It is simple as that. And I mean, we passed 32,000 deaths, I think we're at in total here in the UK. The worst death toll in Europe. Start taking it seriously if you're not, because God forbid this could really hurt your family. It is a horrible disease to have, and I think it is, just to put it into perspective, stay at home. That's what we're asking. Stay at home.
Absolutely.
Next time you will see us live, though, is TTL F1 with fancy graphics and everything like that of the jazz in on Thursday. Myself and Kieran McGinley going to be taking you through that one, and our graphics extraordinaire Honey Badger, fresh from his TTL F2 win in the sprint race, will also be there on Thursday night, so tune in for that. And obviously Friday we've got TTL F1 League 2, and Saturday we have got the return of CRC. Yes, you might have been thinking, why was there no stream on a Saturday? Well, we are going to be streaming on Saturday. It is going to be the touring cars, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be fantastic action. 3 weeks of action, I do believe, for touring cars. Fantastic action. I'm going to be commentating. I'm not sure who's alongside me in the commentary box. I will find out probably on Saturday who is. I have a feeling it's either Professional or Ash Richardson, if I'm not mistaken. Could be Alan. It could be Alan. It could be either of those three. Or it could be you, Aidan. You might come into the breach.
It may end up being me as well, yeah, because I'm getting more involved in the CLC now as well. So you never know. We'll find out on Saturday.
We will find out on Saturday, but until then, thank you very much for tuning in. Again, take our message on board, stay at home, protect the NHS, protect your health service as well, and save lives. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye and stay safe.